The arena, the Galactic Coliseum, was the most feared place in known space. Built on the asteroid Marte Prime, it hosted the deadliest gladiatorial combat in the galaxy. Warriors from 1,000 species fought and died for the entertainment of alien nobility who bet fortunes on each match. Commander Voss of the Crimson Legion watched from his luxury viewing pod as another fighter fell to the arena floor. The massive insectoid warrior had lasted less than 3 minutes against the current champion, a 12-foot-tall beast called Razorclaw, who had won 47 consecutive battles. Boring, Voss complained to his aide. These primitives provide no entertainment anymore. We need fresh blood. Captain Drex nodded agreement. Sir, the latest shipment of captured prisoners arrived this morning. Perhaps something interesting among them. Show me the manifest. Drex activated his datapad, displaying images of various alien species. Most were the usual collection of mercenaries, pirates, and rebels captured during the Legion's expansion campaigns. But one entry made Voss pause. What's this one? He pointed to an image of a small bipedal creature with pale skin and short dark hair. A human, sir. Species designation, Homo sapiens. Captured during our raid on the colony ship Endeavor. Voss laughed. A human? Those weak little creatures from the outer rim? How did one of them even survive capture? Unknown, sir. The prisoner was found alone in the ship's armory after our boarding action. All other humans were killed in the fighting. Physical specifications? Drex read from his pad. Height, 1.8 meters. Weight, 82 kilograms. Age, approximately 35 standard years. No apparent cybernetic enhancements or genetic modifications. Pathetic. Humans are known for their fragility. This creature won't last 10 seconds against a real warrior. Voss paused, then smiled cruelly. But perhaps that's exactly what we need. Schedule it for tomorrow's opening match against Bonecrusher. The crowd will enjoy watching something die quickly. In the depths of the Coliseum's prison levels, Marine Sergeant Jake Miller sat quietly in his cell, ignoring the roars and howls of alien predators in neighboring cages. The walls were covered with scratch marks from previous occupants, who had gone mad waiting for their turn in the arena. Miller had been captured 3 days ago during the Legion's attack on the Endeavor. He was the sole survivor of a Marine detachment that had been escorting civilian colonists to a new world. Everyone he had sworn to protect was dead. The cell door opened with a grinding sound. 2 guards entered, massive humanoid creatures with thick armor and energy weapons. Human, one of them growled in broken standard. You fight tomorrow. Against Bonecrusher. You die for entertainment. Miller looked up calmly. What's a Bonecrusher? The guards laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 10-foot killer. Claws like razors. Teeth like daggers. Has killed 80 fighters. You will be 81. 80 fighters? Miller asked with mild interest. Yes. Bonecrusher, undefeated champion of Lower Arena. Never lost. Never mercy. Miller nodded thoughtfully. That's a pretty good record. The guards found this amusing. Stupid human thinks he can fight. Tomorrow, you learn fear before you die. They left, still laughing at the ridiculous sight of a small human who seemed unimpressed by his approaching doom. The next morning, Commander Voss took his seat in the luxury viewing area as thousands of alien spectators filled the Coliseum. The crowd was eager for the day's entertainment to begin. Ladies and beings of the galaxy, the arena announcer's voice boomed across the stadium. Welcome to today's Blood Games. Our first match features a special treat, a primitive human against our beloved Bonecrusher. The crowd erupted in laughter. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as one of the weakest intelligent species. Soft skin, slow reflexes, no natural weapons or armor. They were considered barely above animals in the galactic hierarchy. A gate opened on one side of the arena, and Bone Crusher emerged to thunderous applause. The creature was a nightmare of muscle and chitin, standing 10 feet tall with forearms, ending in razor-sharp claws. Its mouth was filled with rows of serrated teeth, and its small red eyes burned with savage intelligence. The opposite gate opened, and Jake Miller walked into the arena wearing simple prison clothes. No armor, no weapons, no protection of any kind. He looked almost comically small compared to his opponent. The crowd's laughter grew louder. Bets were placed on how quickly the human would die. The shortest odds were on less than 30 seconds. Commander. Voss leaned forward in his seat, already bored. This will be over before it starts. Humans have no concept of real combat. Captain Drex checked his timepiece. Shall I prepare the cleanup crew, sir? Yes, and find us a replacement fighter for the next match. This human won't provide even. Momentary entertainment. In the arena, the two fighters faced each other across 50 meters of sand. Bone Crusher roared its challenge, a sound that would have terrified most species into immediate surrender. Miller stood perfectly still, studying his opponent with the calm patience of a professional soldier. The crowd's laughter reached a crescendo. As the match began, they had no idea what they were about to witness. Asterisk first blood, the arena countdown began. 10 seconds until the match started. The crowd's laughter grew louder as they watched the small human standing motionless while Bone Crusher paced and snarled like a caged animal. 5.3.4.2.1. Fight, Bone Crusher charged. Across the arena with terrifying speed. 10 feet of muscle and fury bearing down on what appeared to be a helpless victim. The crowd leaned forward, expecting to see the human torn apart in seconds. Miller didn't move. He stood perfectly still as 2 tons of alien predator rushed toward him. At the last possible moment, when Bone Crusher's claws were inches from his face, Miller stepped aside, not frantically, not desperately, just a simple, economical movement that put him exactly where the creature's momentum couldn't reach him. Bone Crusher's charge carried him past Miller and into the arena wall with bone-crushing force. The impact shook the entire Colosseum. The crowd's laughter faltered slightly. Miller turned to face his opponent as Bone Crusher shook off the collision and spun around with a roar of rage. The creature was faster this time, slashing with all 4 claws in a pattern that should have shredded any opponent. Miller moved like water, flowing between the attacks without apparent effort. Each claw strike missed by inches. Each bite attempt found empty air. The human seemed to anticipate every move before the creature made it. Commander Voss stopped laughing. What is he doing? Sir, Captain Drex said uncertainly, the human appears to be studying the creature's attack patterns. Studying? It's a death match, not a biology lesson. But that's exactly what Miller was doing. 23 years of military training had taught him that every opponent had weaknesses. Every fighting style had flaws. And every predator, no matter how dangerous, followed predictable patterns. Bone Crusher was strong, fast, and vicious. But he was also undisciplined. His attacks were powerful, but telegraphed. His rage made him predictable. And most importantly, he had never faced an opponent who didn't show fear. Miller had fought things far worse than Bone Crusher. The creature launched another assault, this time trying to pin Miller against the arena wall. 4 clawed arms swept. And from different angles, cutting off all escape routes. Miller dropped to one knee and rolled forward, passing directly under Bone Crusher's center of gravity. As he came up behind the creature, his hand found a loose piece of debris from the wall impact, a shard of metal about 6 inches long. Not much of a weapon, but Miller had killed with less dot. The crowd watched in growing amazement as the human continued to avoid every attack. What had started as entertainment was becoming something else entirely. The small, seemingly helpless creature was making their champion look clumsy and slow. How is he doing this? Voss demanded. Captain Drex checked his datapad frantically. Sir, according to our intelligence, humans are supposed to be primitive fighters. No natural weapons, limited physical capabilities, entirely dependent on crude tools. Then explain what we're seeing. I can't, sir. Miller had learned everything he needed to know about his opponent. Bone Crusher was dangerous, but not intelligent. Strong, but not trained. Deadly, but not disciplined. Time to end this. The next time Bone Crusher charged, Miller didn't dodge. Instead, he stepped forward to meet the attack. The creature's claws swept down toward Miller's head. Miller moved inside the creature's reach where the claws couldn't extend properly. His left hand caught Bone Crusher's primary arm at the wrist. His right hand, holding the metal shard, struck upward with surgical precision. The improvised blade found the gap between armor plates at the creature's throat. One quick thrust severed the major artery. Bone Crusher stumbled backward, green blood pouring from the wound. The creature looked down in shock, unable to understand how the small human had gotten close enough to strike. Miller stepped back and waited, calmly as Bone Crusher collapsed to the arena floor. The mighty champion who had won 80 consecutive battles died in less than 4 minutes. The Colosseum fell silent. 10,000 alien spectators stared in disbelief at the human standing over their fallen champion. This wasn't supposed to be possible. Humans were weak. Humans were prey animals. Humans didn't kill apex predators with improvised weapons. Commander Voss found his voice first. Run a genetic scan on that human. Now. Sir, there must be something we missed. Hidden cybernetics, genetic modifications, combat drugs. No natural human could do what we just witnessed. Captain Drex initiated the scanner protocols. The results appeared on his screen within moments. Sir, the scan confirms he's completely unmodified. Standard human physiology. No enhancements of any kind. Then how— Wait, sir. There's something else. The scanner picked up trace chemicals consistent with combat experience. And, sir, the levels are extremely high. What do you mean? Drex's voice became uncertain. Sir, according to these readings, this human has been in extensive combat. Multiple engagements over many years. Voss stared at Miller, who stood motionless in the arena, waiting for whatever came next. Get me his military records. All of them. Yes, sir. The crowd remained silent, trying to understand what they had witnessed. The human hadn't just won. He had made it look easy. The records commander. Voss paced his private office while Captain Drex worked frantically at the data terminal. It had taken 6 hours to acquire Jake Miller's complete military records from the human databases, and what they found was disturbing. Sir, Drex said quietly, you need to see this. The holographic display activated, showing Miller's service record. The file was massive: 23 years of continuous military service across multiple theaters of conflict. Start with the summary, Voss ordered. Drex cleared his throat and began reading. Sergeant Jake Miller, Human Colonial Marines. Enlisted at age 18. Served in 17 major conflicts, 43 combat deployments, and over 200 individual actions. That doesn't sound unusual for a career soldier. Sir, that's just the basic overview. The details are concerning. Voss studied the holographic data floating before him. Battle names, dates, casualty reports, mission assessments. The human had fought in every major conflict the Colonial Marines had been involved in over the past 2 decades. Show me the kill. Statistics. Drex hesitated. Sir, are you certain? These numbers seem impossible. Show me. The display changed to show Miller's confirmed combat eliminations. The number that appeared made Voss step backward. 2,437 confirmed kills, Drex read in disbelief. With an additional 812 probable kills, where confirmation wasn't possible. Voss stared at the screen. That's impossible. No single soldier could. Sir, there's more. These numbers only include direct personal combat. They don't include kills made as part of unit actions or indirect fire missions. What's the breakdown? Drex manipulated the display, showing categories of combat eliminations. Hand-to-hand combat, 423 kills. Small arms fire, 1,208 kills. Explosives and demolitions, 641 kills. Improvised weapons, 165 kills. Improvised weapons? Yes, sir. The records indicate Sergeant Miller has a particular talent for using whatever materials are available as weapons. Rocks, metal fragments, pieces of debris. He once killed 3 enemy soldiers using only a broken dinner plate. Commander Voss felt a chill run down his spine. He had just watched this human kill Bone Crusher with a piece of scrap metal. Now he understood why it had looked so effortless. What about his unit citations? Sir, Miller has received every combat decoration, the Human Colonial Marines Award, multiple times. He's been recommended for medals so often that command stopped approving them because they ran out of different awards to give him. The display showed images from Miller's various campaigns. Battlefields across dozens of worlds. Urban warfare, jungle combat, space station assaults, zero-gravity fighting. In every image, Miller looked the same calm, focused, professional. Show me the mission reports, Voss commanded. Drex pulled up individual after-action reports. The language was clinical, but the content was terrifying. Siege of Kepler Station. Sergeant Miller held Corridor 7 against 47. Enemy combatants for 6 hours using improvised fortifications and salvaged weapons. Enemy casualties, 47. Friendly casualties, 0. Battle of New Crete. Sergeant Miller infiltrated enemy command bunker and eliminated entire leadership structure using stealth tactics. Mission duration, 4 hours. Enemy command structure completely destroyed. Defense of Colony 12. Sergeant Miller organized civilian evacuation while conducting delaying action against superior enemy forces. Civilians saved, 3,400. Enemy casualties, estimated 200 plus. Each report painted the same picture. A soldier who accomplished impossible missions against overwhelming odds and always brought his people home alive. What about psychological evaluations? Voss asked. Sir, that's perhaps the most disturbing part. Drex highlighted a section of the file. Miller has been evaluated by military psychiatrists 47 times over his career. Every evaluation reaches the same conclusion. Completely stable, no signs of combat stress or psychological trauma, maintains perfect emotional control under extreme pressure. How is that possible? No one fights for 23 years without psychological damage. Sir, according to these reports, Miller doesn't see combat as violence. He sees it as problem-solving. Each enemy is just another tactical challenge to be solved efficiently. Voss studied the records with growing unease. What was his last assignment before capture? Personal security detail for the colony ship Endeavor. He was responsible for protecting 3,000 civilian colonists during their journey to establish a new settlement. And when we attacked the ship, according to the boarding reports, Miller held the armory section alone against our entire assault team for 47 minutes. He killed 38 of our soldiers before being overwhelmed and captured. The room fell silent as both aliens contemplated what they had learned. The creature they had thrown into the arena as entertainment wasn't a primitive human. He was a weapon with 23 years of experience in killing things that threatened innocent people. "Sir," Drex said quietly, "what should we do with this information?" Voss looked through his window at the arena where Miller was being held in a preparation cell for tomorrow's match against 3 opponents simultaneously. Nothing, he decided. The crowd enjoyed today's upset. Tomorrow they'll see their entertainment. Return to normal when quantity overwhelms quality. Sir, with respect, this human killed Bonecrusher like he was swatting an insect. Are you certain 3 opponents will be enough? Voss laughed, though it sounded forced. Captain, impressive. Service record or not, he's still just one human. There are limits to what any single fighter can accomplish. Captain Drex looked at Miller's kill count again and wondered if his commander was right. 3 against, when the next day's crowd was 3 times larger than normal. Word had spread throughout the galaxy about the human who had killed Bonecrusher. Every major crime syndicate, military leader, and arena enthusiast wanted to see if the previous day's victory had been luck or skill. Commander Voss sat in his luxury box, surrounded by high-ranking guests who had paid enormous sums for the privilege of witnessing today's spectacle. "Commander," said Admiral Knox of the Hegemony Fleet, "my intelligence officers tell me this human has an impressive military record." "Ancient history," Voss replied confidently. "Today he faces 3 of our finest gladiators simultaneously. No single fighter, regardless of experience, can overcome such odds." The arena announcer's voice boomed across the Colosseum. "Citizens of the galaxy, today we present a special exhibition match. The human who defeated Bonecrusher will face 3 champions in mortal combat." The crowd roared its approval as the first gate opened. Shadowfang emerged, a 7-foot assassin from the stealth world of Nyx. His natural camouflage abilities allowed him to become nearly invisible, and his twin energy blades had cut down 53 opponents. The second gate revealed Ironhide, a massive armored warrior from the mining colonies. His exoskeleton could deflect most weapons, and his plasma cannon had incinerated 41 enemies. The third gate opened to release Venom, a serpentine creature whose toxic bite could kill most species in seconds. Her speed and agility had overwhelmed 67 previous opponents. Finally, the human gate opened, and Jake Miller walked into the arena. He showed no reaction to facing 3 deadly opponents simultaneously. If anything, he looked bored. The crowd's cheering faltered slightly. There was something unsettling about the human's complete calm in the face of certain death. "Begin," the announcer commanded. All 3 alien champions attacked simultaneously, using coordinated tactics designed to prevent their opponent from focusing on any single threat. Shadowfang activated his camouflage and disappeared from sight. Ironhide opened fire with his plasma cannon. Venom circled to attack from behind with her venomous fangs. Miller moved. He didn't run or dodge frantically like most fighters would. Instead, he positioned himself so that Ironhide's plasma blasts would hit the space where Shadowfang was moving invisibly. The first blast caught the cloaked assassin in the shoulder, disrupting his camouflage and sending him tumbling across the sand with a scream of pain and rage. Miller had used one opponent's attack to wound another without lifting a finger. Venom struck from behind, her fangs seeking Miller's neck. But the human had tracked her movement by watching the sand displacement her slithering created. He spun and caught her by the throat just behind her head, in the one spot where she couldn't bite him. With a quick twist, he broke her neck. The crowd gasped. 2 opponents eliminated or wounded in the first 30 seconds. Ironhide charged forward, abandoning his plasma cannon for close combat with massive powered fists. Each punch could crush steel. Miller waited until the last moment, then dropped and rolled between the creature's legs. As he came up behind Ironhide, he grabbed a handful of sand and threw it into the warrior's optical sensors. Blinded, Ironhide swung wildly. Miller guided the creature's momentum, causing him to trip and fall face first into the arena wall. The impact cracked his supposedly impenetrable armor. Shadowfang had recovered from the plasma burn and was attacking again, this time with both energy blades spinning in lethal arcs. Miller picked up Venom's corpse and used it as a shield. Then, energy blades sliced through the dead creature, but lost most of their power in the process. Miller tossed the remains aside and stepped inside Shadowfang's reach. His hand found the burn wound from the plasma blast and pressed hard. The assassin shrieked in agony and dropped his weapons. Miller broke the alien's arm, then used the stunned creature's own energy blade to finish him. Ironhide was trying to rise from the wall impact when Miller approached. The human had picked up the plasma cannon the warrior had abandoned. "Problem," Miller said calmly, and fired point-blank into the crack in Ironhide's armor. The explosion left nothing but scorch marks on the arena floor. The entire fight had lasted less than 3 minutes. The Colosseum fell silent. 10,000 alien spectators stared in shock at the human standing alone among the bodies of 3 champions who had never lost a fight. Commander Voss felt his confidence crumble. How is this possible? Admiral Knox was reading Miller's military records on his personal datapad. His face had gone pale. "Commander, you didn't tell me this human had over 2,000 confirmed kills." "What?" Sergeant Jake Miller, Human Colonial Marines. 23 years of combat experience. Specialist in asymmetric warfare, survival combat, and impossible odds. Other military leaders in the viewing box were accessing their own intelligence. Networks pulling up Miller's service record. The whispers spread quickly through the crowd as the information circulated. He held off an entire alien invasion force for 6 hours. Single-handedly destroyed a space station full of enemy soldiers. Survived behind enemy lines for 3 months. Killed over 100 hostiles. 2,437. Confirmed kills. The laughter that had greeted Miller's first appearance was replaced by stunned silence. They weren't watching a primitive human struggle for survival. They were watching a professional killer demonstrate why humans had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most dangerous species when properly motivated. And Miller looked like he was just getting started. The legend 3 months later, the Galactic Coliseum was no longer the same place. What had started as routine entertainment had become something unprecedented in galactic history. Jake Miller had fought 47 matches and won them all. The arena that had once hosted simple death matches now showcased tactical masterpieces that military academies across the galaxy studied as training materials. Miller didn't just defeat opponents, he solved them like mathematical equations, finding the most efficient path to victory regardless of the odds. Commander Voss stood in his office, reviewing financial reports that made no sense. Arena attendance had increased by 800%. Betting revenues were at historic highs. Military delegations from dozens of species paid enormous fees just to watch Miller fight. "Sir?" Captain Drex entered with the latest intelligence reports. "The Galactic Council is demanding we release detailed information about the humans' capabilities." "Why?" "Several member species are requesting immediate peace negotiations with humanity. They want assurance that Earth doesn't have entire armies of soldiers like Miller." Voss laughed bitterly. "One human has them terrified?" "Sir, it's not just what he does in the arena. It's how he does it. He doesn't fight like a beast or a berserker. He fights like a scientist. Every move is calculated. Every victory teaches him something new about galactic combat techniques." Through his window, Voss could see the arena where Miller was currently. Facing 5 opponents, simultaneously a pack of wolf-like creatures from the Fenris system. The human moved through them like a surgeon, striking precisely where each creature was weakest. "How many kills is he up to now?" "In the arena? 234 confirmed. But sir, that's not what's got everyone's attention." "What?" Do you mean? Drex activated a holographic recording of Miller's most recent fight. Watch his technique. He's not just killing opponents anymore. He's learning from each species he faces, studying their anatomy, their fighting styles, their weaknesses. The recording showed Miller defeating a heavily armored warrior from the Titan worlds. Instead of trying to penetrate the armor, Miller had identified the joints and struck with surgical precision, disabling his opponent without wasting energy on ineffective attacks. He's building a database, Drex continued. Every species that faces him in the arena gives him knowledge about how to fight their entire race. If humanity ever went to war, ... Voss understood the implication. Miller wasn't just entertaining crowds. He was conducting military research on every major species in the galaxy. In the arena's medical facility, Dr. Kane examined Miller after his latest victory. The human showed remarkably little wear, despite months of constant combat. Your physiology is fascinating, Dr. Kane admitted. Most gladiators show significant damage after a few weeks. You appear to be getting stronger. Miller sat calmly as the doctor completed his scans. Combat conditioning. The human body adapts to stress over time. But your psychological profile is even more unusual. No signs of fatigue, no combat stress, no degradation of performance. How do you maintain such focus? I remember why I'm here. The colony ship? Miller's expression hardened slightly. 3,000 innocent people were traveling to start new lives. They were under my protection when your forces attacked. Every person aboard that ship was my responsibility. They're dead now. Your revenge won't bring them back. This isn't revenge, Doctor. This is preparation. For what? Miller looked toward the arena where tomorrow he would face 7 opponents. For when I get out of here. Dr. Kane felt a chill. The arena contracts are binding until death. No gladiator has ever been released. Doctor, I've studied every security system, every guard rotation, every structural weakness in this facility. I know the locations of every weapon, every vehicle, every communication system. When I decide to leave, nothing will stop me. And then what? Then the galaxy learns what happens when you threaten human civilians. Meanwhile, in emergency session, the Galactic Council debated the human problem on their capital world. The situation has escalated beyond entertainment, declared Ambassador Vex. This single human has demonstrated combat capabilities that exceed our worst-case scenarios for their entire species. Are we certain he represents typical human military training? Asked Delegate Moore. Our analysis of his service record suggests he's exceptional, but not unique. Humanity has produced thousands of similar soldiers over their history of warfare. The chamber erupted in concerned chatter. If Miller was just one example of human military capability, what did that mean for galactic security? I propose immediate diplomatic contact with Earth, suggested Ambassador Clay. We need to understand their intentions and capabilities before this situation escalates further. Agreed. But what about the human in the arena? Ambassador Vex pulled up security footage of Miller's latest match. The human moved with mechanical precision, eliminating opponents with minimal effort. That human has killed over 200 arena champions in 3 months. He's studied the combat techniques of 47 different species. He's learning everything about galactic military capabilities while demonstrating that human soldiers are far more dangerous than we believed. What do you recommend? We pray he never gets out. Because if he does, the galaxy will learn why humans have survived every threat their world has ever faced. In his cell, Jake Miller marked another day on the wall and continued planning his escape. Soon he would show them what 2,000 confirmed kills really meant.